Well, folks, here again for the weekly forecast, and of course during this last week we dealt with some fairly warm temperatures across the region, and this is the second consecutive week of the heat. Couldn't buy much of it during the month of August. In fact, we've had 4 days here in the Lincoln area of 90-degree day temperature highs this month already. We didn't have any last month, so quite a change. There are more changes oncoming as we go through this next 14-day period, as we're going to see once again a shift toward a wetter pattern in the western United States after some very long periods of dry and hot weather. This will help to alleviate some of the forest fire problems in the northwestern portion of the country, but additionally give the areas of extreme drought up in the northern plains a respite from the conditions, as we expect to see some significant moisture. So as we go to the upper air models, what we are going to see is that we do have this trough that's beginning to work its way toward the southeast, very slow, pushed up against the high pressure system to the southeast. So we do have some energy that will be moving in the jet stream to the north, and we have low pressure to our south, and this will help to pump up moisture, overriding the cool air. So we are expecting some widespread precipitation, snow in the Rocky Mountains of Montana, potentially in North Dakota. And then as we go into tomorrow, the trough digs a little bit farther toward the south, and we are expecting low pressure system once again to start to form in the high plains region, and this will help to set the stage for additional moisture, most of it moving from western Nebraska into the eastern Nebraska and points to the east. So we are expecting at least some additional moisture, and this trough digs even deeper as we get into Monday. Some energy rounding about that will start to direct some of that moisture up back into the northern plains and northern Rockies with low pressure at the surface. You can see some of this moisture still residing over the previous day, but here comes that moisture surge in the Pacific Northwest. Then that trough starts to deepen rather significantly as we go into Tuesday. That's going to allow some cool air into the northern Rockies. A series of low pressure systems moving out of that trough at the surface will help to generate moisture into our region. And once again, we see some scattered precipitation over Iowa, eastern Nebraska, and a concentrated area over the central northern Rockies. And then we start to see the system starting to push its way eastward. And so we were going to see the high pressure system that's in place start to shift toward the south. Low pressure starts to move into our region. Gulf moisture in place. Active severe thunderstorm activity possible across the mid portion of the country on Wednesday, and then on Thursday the trough really starts to dig down into the southern Rockies. More energy ejects out in the northern plains. Low pressure once again forms to our southwest. This will allow moisture to pump up into our region. Although the moisture is keeping east of the state, I believe we'll probably see much more widespread precipitation late Thursday than we're currently depicted by the models. And then as we get into Friday, we see that trough kind of stationary, cold air into the northern portions of the Rockies, series of low pressure systems still ejecting out of that upper air trough. That will have the potential to once again generate widespread precipitation across the central Rockies, moving into western Nebraska, and increasing signs in the models that we were going to see a series of these systems continue to punch into the Pacific Northwest, entering into a very favorable wet period for most of the western Corn Belt as warm air starts to return to the eastern Corn Belt. The big question is, with that cold air coming in and a reinforcing shot next weekend, will hard freeze conditions hit much of the upper Midwest, and some of that may actually start to impact extreme northern Nebraska. As we look at the 8 to 14-day forecast, you can see the cold air that is in place for next Thursday, the following Tuesday. I actually think this will be shifted eastward at least another 150, 200 miles, and in terms of precipitation, with that trough coming out of the western United States in a semi-permanent position, we expect energy to eject out into the plains, and a widespread above normal moisture is expected.